All right, we are on week 4 folder this week, and this is our second week of hybrid, and so you can see a little bit of the change of the format. We have 2 daily assignments. So reminder again, in this week, if you are an A student, you'll be working on this in class with us. You can always check in if you have questions on Google Meet. And then day 2 will be our assignment on Thursday. So if you are a B student, you'll be doing this in class and we'll be focusing on it. So make sure that you get the day 1 done when you are not in class that day. So we are going to start by talking a little bit about this T-chart. And so what we're going to do is focus a little bit on leadership in the cause of independence. And we're going to start by comparing 2 very unique leaders, because these are very interesting and typical leaders throughout the Americas as it applies to the cause of independence, because there's an underlying factor in every independence movement of a kind of rhetoric that grows out of why they should go away from this colonial leadership that they had. And Thomas Paine and Thomas Jefferson provide that leadership through their writing and their ideas. And so I provided a couple little readings here, one for each of these leaders. There's a chart that you can use to fill out and turn in, or you can make your own. And then I also have a little slideshow that goes into some of the background of each of their leadership. And this is pretty much just kind of a preview of a way to kind of get an understanding of where specifically these leaders come from and what their ideas are doing and why you think that they provided the leadership that they did and where those ideas took them. And then we're going to transfer into really what most leadership analysis comes from, and we're going to start looking at, George Washington. And eventually, when we look a little deeper into like South American leadership, we'll start looking at guys like Simon Bolivar, in addition to like Toussaint Louverture in Haiti. We'll start looking at the people who are not only the political leaders, but also the actual military leaders, and see how their development as a fighter also would apply eventually to their role as a leader in the political spectrum as well. So this is a little letter that brings a lot of questions to the idea of Washington's questions overall about how they will be successful as a country. And so you're supposed to read the letter that's attached here between George Washington and one of his generals, and talk a little bit about some of the first early challenges to Washington and the country as a whole. Now, the majority of the week is going to be spent working on this HyperDoc assignment, which is basically a more in-depth analysis of George Washington's leadership by looking at several documents as they relate to challenges to not only his leadership, but basically the leadership of the country. So the question you're going to focus on is, how can you analyze George Washington's role of leadership in creating a new government and as president of the United States? And you're going to do that by completing this HyperDoc. And basically, you're going to work either asynchronously, or synchronously in class with others of your choice to begin the process of first looking through a little background information of some of the things that were going on during Washington's rise as a leader. So you're first going to go through and answer these 3 questions using this timeline. So it's a little just kind of investigation into the background and focusing on what time period we're going to look at in Washington's leadership. Then you're going to go through some letter writing. All right. So you're going to be divided up based on your A or B students and what you're going to read. So everybody who's an A student will be in class on Wednesday. You're going to read these 3 documents. If you're a B student, when you're in class, you're going to read these 3 documents. Okay, so I'd like everybody to kind of start by doing these questions. If you're a B student and you kind of start this HyperDoc earlier, you'll have an ability to kind of get ahead of things, but you can also have time in class to work on these. After reviewing that document, using those documents you're reading, you're going to answer these 4 questions. All right. And then ultimately what you're going to be doing is making a 4-slide presentation that examines Washington's role as a leader with respect to his role in drafting the Constitution. You are going to use any of these readings to answer these 4 questions. So basically, you're going to write a slide that answers this question. then this question, then this and this. So that's why there's 4. A big part of this is that when you make your presentation, make sure that you go and click up here to share, and that you change the sharing priorities so that you can copy and paste your link to your presentation in here so that I can look at it. And then the last thing that you have to do before you turn it in is just do a little reflection here by reading George Washington's address and his farewell address as president, and in 1 to 2 paragraphs, and then you would just submit this HyperDoc by the end of the week. All right, and that is going to be a summative assignment. It will be due on Sunday. All right, that pretty much wraps everything up, except for the fact that there will also be a summative essay you must write. And that essay will basically be chosen for you, and you will be put into one of these 4 groups to complete an essay that must be turned in on Sunday. Sorry about that. I said that this was a summative assignment. This HyperDoc is one of the formative assignments that we'll be doing in class. This is the actual summative. So you're not going to do all 4 of them. And in fact, they won't show up for you until Friday morning. But this is where you're going to be writing your summative. And basically, each of these comes from your work in the HyperDoc. So it won't be any surprise. You will have the background is that what you're writing about are one of these things, and they're links that are attached to this when you open it up that you can use to help put together your essay, and then you would submit it in Schoology. All right, so that's week 4. We will see you on Wednesday if you're watching this early, or Thursday if you're a B student. And if you have any questions, remember to come to my office hours on Friday.